Hi, I'm Roberto Martinez and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV with me, Peter McBarron, Barrycast, and the ever controversial Les Roberts is back. The penalty incident. I'm watching it and I'm seeing Ross pick it up and he goes like an 8-year-old in a schoolyard. Make a take it almost. That's what it felt like. Now it was different, obviously, from the situation with Morales. Completely different. Morales picked that ball up, and it was clear that it wasn't the designated penalty taker. Baines was, and there was a bit of argy-bargy. It's completely different. Ross looked like he was the penalty taker on the day. That was fine. And then, you know, I was never confident personally. Yeah. I just thought this is gonna turn up bad. Whatever happens, I just thought. But then he takes it, and I just thought. Is that it? Do you know the way he picked it up? He looked like he had some boss penalty in his locker. You know, he's like going to
John Stones against Juventus.
You know, like he was going to finish it like Suarez did against PSG. He was just going to top in it, loads of swerve on it. But he just walks up and didn't seem to have any idea what he was doing while taking the penalty. But he didn't, though, did he? He was like real
placed it down and like adjusted it, and then he stood back like Johnny Wilson and was like,
yeah.
I just didn't.
There was no real confidence.
Yeah, I didn't.
I'm like a rose between the two thorns here. I thought he'd score. I did. And the thing how it was different. People around me were screaming at Jagielka to go and sort it out. When Leighton Baines immediately, when he picked the ball up, just pointed as if to say he's on penalties. There was no. It was done in the dressing room beforehand. It was done. The actual penalty, look, I'm not being funny.
It was rubbish.
No. The only bad penalty was Dimitar Berbatov's against us at Wembley, which was outrageously bad. Any other penalty, if the keeper goes the other way, you'd be sat here going, what a penalty that was. Eric Cantona's penalties were shocking. He rolled them. If the keeper ever dived the right way,
there's a difference though. That's like saying Eden Hazard's penalties. Eden Hazard waits, but he waits for the goalie to go.
Wait till the goalie second guesses him and everyone will go, that's one.
But he doesn't know because he waits.
Listen,
he sees the shift of the weight.
But for me, it was a great save by the keeper. He guessed the right way, got strong hands on it. It was a great save. It was no punching at Tottenham a few years ago for Palace, which is still bouncing here. You know.
Right. Well, we're not going to talk about why Baz is wrong. What we're going to talk about is basically why is Ross Barkley taking penalties. We've got a penalty taker out there who scored 14 out of 15 Premier League penalties. He takes one poor one against the best keeper in the league. Okay, his next one's a little bit dodgy as well. But why, okay, Lukaku takes...
He also missed one in the League Cup, an important League Cup
tie against Chelsea. Yeah, he missed, and he also missed one in the penalty shootout against Czech as well.
So he's crap there. He was right.
Rubbish.
Well better than...
But the point is, he's on the pitch, he's a senior player. Okay, Lukaku now apparently is the official penalty taker. Because I've never looked at Baines and thought, you want to be the penalty taker. You look at him and think, he is the penalty taker. That's just the way it is. Yeah, I'm just good at them, but I don't want to take them. But I just think, well, when he's on the pitch...
He just wants to play guitar or something.
When he's on the pitch, if Lukaku's not on the pitch, then he should be taking them, no matter what. Especially at 0-0. And I don't understand that. And then you get Roberto Martinez's comments on it. Oh, I'm glad he missed.
Sound. Yeah, I mean, it was an odd thing to say. You look at the season Barkley's had, and you kind of think, well, why? I mean, he maybe said, look, I want to take it, and everyone agreed, okay, you can take it, but why? He doesn't need that extra pressure, does he? He doesn't need, because that could have gone horribly wrong for him there, and people could have started getting on his back because he missed that penalty. I don't think he needs that pressure.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that he has took it, or he wants to take it. I've got no problem with that. And actually, after he took it, it didn't seem to faze him.
No, it didn't.
So that's fine. But for the manager to come out and say it like that, I don't understand it. If he'd come out and said, he'll learn from that. You missed it and he'll learn from it, no problem. But to say, well, we won 1-0, so actually I'm happy that he missed it. Yeah, I don't quite get that.
Do you get anything he said?
No.
To be fair.
I just don't get anything.
It's just Johnny
positive. It is.
I reckon when his missus brings like the tea and he's just like, that tea's phenomenal, it's the great, it's unique, the bowl you brought it in.
That beans and sausage on toast is phenomenal.
It's a unique opportunity for me to eat beans this way, and it'll make me a more whole eater. Yeah, in fact, it's pasta late at night.
One question I'll ask you is, right, if Saturday had been Merseyside derby, no Lukaku on the pitch.
Baines wouldn't have.
So why? So why? If that's the case...
Hang on, and you really did you actually hear him talk as if we would ever get a penalty against Liverpool?
But if we did get a penalty against Liverpool,
do you know what you're saying?
And Lukaku's not on the pitch and Baines is on the pitch, does Ross Barkley take that penalty?
You wouldn't have played in the derby. They've been subbed for attitude.
So why is he taking the penalty?
Because, look, we're not privy to that information. However, looking at it, it's plain to see it was agreed in the dressing room before.
I've got no arguments with that. It wasn't like the Morales one.
I'm not saying Baines shouldn't be the penalty taker, but if you've got a situation where, do we know Leighton Baines wants to still take penalties? Do we, as he said, he
should that matter?
But if he doesn't feel confidence, yeah, of course it should, because it's you're putting someone under pressure. There was the farce of West Bromwich Albion when it was embarrassing for everybody concerned, and Morales missed it. He mightn't, you know, look at it this way, right? The Morales thing happened against West Brom and it was embarrassing. I know Baines took one against West Ham in the cup and all that. But since then, I don't think we've had the penalty, have we?
Since the one in Europe, didn't we?
Yeah, we've not. Lukaku, he had Newcastle, he scored, but what I mean is Baines hasn't took one, has he? No. For a while.
Lukaku is the penalty.
No, that's what I'm saying to you, but Baines in himself might be thinking, after that Morales thing, I actually don't want this. No, this is like a get out for me. So, no, for me, there shouldn't be any question. He was, when we got the penalty on Saturday, I looked straight at Baines for him to make his way up.
Okay, well,
he was miles away.
And he was miles away. And that's why he pumped. Jack Elka was looking and he was pointing it back.
I'm just trying to.
I know you're trying to get your head around it and ask yourself why.
It's not. I'm just being devil's advocate. What I'm saying is are there enough strong characters in? Because the whole point of the Morales thing is that nobody had the sort of balls to go, do us a favour, do one. You're not the penalty taker.
Morales had a t-shirt on for junior.
And we've said all this, that's not the point.
He wanted to celebrate it. That's why. And Baines...
But that's what I'm saying, are there enough characters, are there enough leaders?
Did Barkley need that weekend, did it?
But did Barkley pipe up in the dressing room and say, I'll have it, and did no one else go?
I wasn't in there.
The thing is, though, if that's the case and it's all been agreed, instead of Martinez coming up and saying, well, you know, he showed a great character to take it and I'm happy and he's going to learn from it, he should have just said, we decided before the game he was going to take it.
But he said we've got 3 or 4 penalties.
Yeah.
If you look at it, the only reason I think it was done was the fact that nobody looked at Baines, apart from Jagielka, he was stood with him and he went like that. No one was like turning around looking for Baines. Ross picked the ball up. A couple of the players went like that on the shoulder. And he put it on. Morales like this.
See, I just find the situation very strange. It's 0-0. It's in a Premier League game. There aren't
4-0 up.
There aren't any chances being taken anywhere else. There's no kids on the bench, no kids in the team. He's not taking chances anywhere else. He's treating the game very much like any other Premier League game. And yet, he's allowing a kid who's never took a penalty in a Premier League game to take one when he's got one of the best Premier League penalty takers on the pitch. That's what I don't understand. Do you know what? If he'd let him take it, right, and he's got a couple of kids on the pitch as well, and we're treating the whole game like an exercise for next season, then I fully understand it. But I just can't quite get my head around why you would take that chance.
If he scores it, it's trying to boost Barkley's confidence, isn't it? If he slots and we go 1-0 up, it's a non-issue. You just go, oh, how come he took it rather than Baines? You'd all be celebrating. He missed, and that's the way it is. And to me, it just kind of typified the way this season's gone.
It does.
Everything's forced and it's not flowing, and that's the way it is.
Right, we did ask you on Twitter at Toffee TV1 #Toffee tweets. We did ask you what you thought. Here we go.
I'll start because I've got them in front of me. At Claire B EFC, it's turning into a farce. Whoever needs to feed their ego that day is taking the ball. The club suffers as a rule.
Les Daly says, to be fair, it was a cracking save. It's not like he bottled it. Is Baines not up for it after his United miss? Andy Skinner says, Baines not exactly rushing to take it, lost his bottle. Goodison_Roder says, will Barkley now get dropped and for a few games like Morales did? Jelly the Mosher says, Baines best penalty taker. Don't get why it's been changed. If Barkley decided he'd take it, why didn't Jags as captain overrule it? Well, we just said that. Sedo84 says, silly decisions like this could cost him, 1, his job, and 2, the backing of the players. Cumbrian Blue Toffee says, what will Baines do during the Euros if it goes to pens? The Basset 91 says, Jags should have spoken up. I'd replace him as captain next year. That's a completely different thing.
I think it's not going to speak up if it's already been agreed, is it? At P316, we've created a problem when there isn't one. We have the best penalty taker in the league, so why make it a problem? At Sunny Portleaf, should have been a dead issue after West Brom. Baines takes our pens, end of. Poor management of players by Roberto.
Mark Rimmer says, knew before Barkley took the pen where he was putting the ball, but another big 3 points in the bag. Ryan Lowe, players are taking advantage of their own teammates, lack of confidence, although Baines needs to grow up here. Leonard 1878 says, obviously being agreed before the game, Ross is on the next pen, he's missed it and everyone's kicking off.
At Shawnee Snake, to be honest, it's Baines' fault for not taking the ball off him and saying, and I've changed the words of this tweet, Sean, please move away from the ball, Ross. I think you will find I am a better penalty taker than you, my fellow Scouser. Shawnee's was a little bit more closer to knuckle than that.
Philip Holding says, if Baines didn't want to take it, then Bally should have.
I would have scored.
Took them,
no question.
Took them for Villa. You couldn't even win the bleeding thing on the screen. Never mind anything else.
It was on Saturday. Quite embarrassing. I thought you meant the Shank Cup.
The post. Oh yeah, you missed. You missed at the Galaxy's end of the Shank Cup.
Hit the post, to be fair, but a better pen than Nossel.
Maka EFC 87 says Baines should be taking them, end of. Bar his miss at United, his record in the league is great. Plus, he wrecked my bet.
Yeah, well, there's a few people who weren't happy with first scorer. At Joe McKibben, 1878, and this is kind of what you've just said before, I've always felt Baines has been forced to take penalties and at times doesn't look confident when stepping up. This may have caused us to swap takers in recent weeks.
May have done. True Blue 78 says, don't know what's happened. Baines' record tells you that he'll always be the one to take the penalties. Connor Bennett 14 says, if Baines is on the pitch, it's his. If not, it's Lukaku. Need an order to stop the stupidness. Brady Elka says, Baines' record speaks for themselves. He should have stepped up and took it at any stage of the game. It's only JK says, Baines should have the balls to take the pen and take them. Anyone who argues should just look at his record.
At AD 14, I think we need to give the keeper some credit here. It was a better pen than Baines for United and Morales for West Brom. Someone from the club needs to come out and say if Baines doesn't want them anymore to stop us all guessing.
So the most annoying thing about Baines' Man United penalty? Sorry, it was clean through there.
If it would have scored.
If it was through.
To be honest, I'm unsure it was a pen at the time. But Baines should have scored. Yeah, the last one I've got, Jamie Armstrong, 1, embarrassing and unprofessional. Pens are turning into our corners. No structure or organisation. Need Leighton Baines back on them.
Les Roll, no, he's there. GP_15 says, I just don't get it. Baines has turned into a bad taker. All of a sudden, I blame Baines for not taking it. Playing in Royal Blue says, not professional, laughable. Martinez needs to control the players and have a word with Baines. Blah, blah, blah. Manny EFC says, the manager should make it clear who takes the pens in the changes. He's the captain and ensure it happens on the pitch. Well, I think we've already agreed. I think basically that was the case anyway. Paulie POW says, remember when we all went mad when Kevin Mars piped up and missed? Ross Barkley and Romelu Lukaku have gone ahead of Leighton Baines this season. Why? Silly. Sean Ferguson says, like a Sunday League team, we must be the only team with the pen taker does not take them.
Haven't Liverpool had this as well earlier in the season, wasn't there?
Yeah,
A bit of a disagreed Lambert and Sturridge and De Bruyne and over the penalty or something. So, I mean, my personal view is that Baines should be on because he's pretty good at penalties.
But then as you
Les, what was your tweet? You say it rather than reading it. What's your view on it? What's your view on it?
My view is that Baines should take him, and obviously I see now when you say Baines was miles away and he pointed, so now I realise that obviously I've been sorted out before and that never actually occurred to me. I just thought it was, I don't know, like winning 30 big bonus or something like that. But as I say, from standing there watching it, I was never convinced that he was going to score. He didn't look, to be honest, to say that when anyone steps up. He's never going to score. He's never going to score.
A couple more to finish off. Terry Smith says, Ross scored a great goal against Newcastle. He wanted to build on winning back the Boo Boys. He's made a cat's arse of it, so what?
Fair enough, says.
So a couple more here. I think Craig Harper says he deserves credit for not hiding after the pen. He's young and he's learning. Let's hope it's at Goodison, and yeah, that'll do. I think.
do.
But there's quite a bit of a split there. Some people saying Martinez is his fault for not getting it sorted out. Some people are saying Leighton Baines is his fault for not standing up and getting on with it, being more of a man in the situation.
Jagielka.
Some people blame Jagielka. I don't really want to lay the blame on anyone. It's easy to make a big issue out of this when it's not really a big issue. But I just think if you've got a penalty taker, he's your penalty taker. And it's just mad that we've gone from beginning of the season with one of the best penalty takers in the Premier League to now having a couple of different penalty takers. Lukaku's now the number one, and I think we've missed more Premier League penalties than anyone else this season. So it's
hard for us
strange.
it's hard for us to even get a pen. Stop waiting.
Exactly, and that is the biggest problem overall, isn't it? If you get these things are massive in games, they change games, and you just think, be professional.
I don't think anyone would have been, if it had been 3-0 and we get a pen, and Ross needs to go, you know, let him take it. But remember when Jelic against
I think that
we were 4-0 up, and he'd signed the Alpanenka, and the keeper's just gone, behave yourself, you're going to Hull on Monday. You know, and all that. But I think at 0-0 it's a risky game.
It is, I think the important thing is, I suppose, like looking ahead now, is that it didn't affect Barkley. He didn't, like, his arse didn't go after he just carried on and played his normal game. His ball didn't go.
I want to say, very eloquently put there, his arse did. Journalist as well, outrageous.
And I suppose that's what Martinez is saying. He's saying, you know, I'm happy in a way that he missed it after we won. Where you should have just said he'll learn from it. It's as simple as that.
You never say you're happy someone gets the pen. Just say he'll learn from it.
He'll learn from that. He'll make him a better player. If it scored, it would have made him an even better player. I'm just glad he wanted to take it. Simple as that.